Hey guys, welcome back. It's WARDOGS. In this video, I'll be talking about the Sniper Team, WARDOGS, and the War Factory opening. This is a unit composition I've seen a lot in the higher GDI league play, and I decided to give it a shot, and it works out very well, surprisingly. Even though I don't like the WARDOGS very much, it works in this composition. So, anyways, let's talk about the Sniper Teams first. The Sniper Team has a 2-tile range, so you can really, as long as you stay away from your opponent's units, and your Sniper Team fires at them, they won't be able to fire at you because of course they don't have that 2-tile range, and you can just fire away and you will kill most of the infantry units in the game as long as you abuse the 2-tile range. So keep that in mind. And because the Sniper Team is a fast moving unit, it will outspeed most infantry units as well, because most infantry units in this game have a speed of average. And going on to the WARDOG now, the WARDOG is it's a very tanky, fast-moving unit. And if you go for a War Factory opening in your army composition, the WARDOGs can be a great starting unit to build because a lot of your opponents may start off with barracks. The barrack opening is a very common opening, and the WARDOGs do counter militants, riflemen, and to a degree the flame troopers and the shockwaves, but that's debatable because sometimes the WARDOGs actually can't kill flame troopers or shockwaves until you have at least 2 or 3 of these guys on the battlefield focusing on them, because their DPS is still pretty abysmal. 40 DPS at level 8 is terrible. Like, they're just not going to kill anything fast enough, which is the most frustrating part about this unit still. But regardless, the WARDOGs work well with the snipers because let's say your opponent starts off with a barrack and he has 2 flame troopers on the field and they try to corner your snipers. You can build these cheap WARDOGs and use them as a meat shield or body block against them, and your WARDOGs will deal additional damage, of course, along with your snipers' bullets into the flame troopers or shockwaves. So you can get that early control against most enemy infantry openings. So that can help you secure the first missile and get you that early map control if they go for a barrack opening. Not only does the WARDOG help the sniper, the WARDOG of course allows you to go for a War Factory play, but also they are a very tanky unit, 2,700 health, at the cost of 10 Tiberium crystals is pretty good. And because they're one of the fastest units in the game, also giving you a 3-tile vision range just like the Rhino or the Rifleman, they make a great early game scouting unit, so you can see exactly what units and what buildings your opponent is going for, so you know exactly what to build yourself and counter him. And they can also, the WARDOGs can also be used as fast-moving, tanky launch pad holders or tile blockers. Any areas you really want to control, or let's say the missile's almost finished building, but you need to get a unit quickly onto another launch pad. You can quickly pump out a WARDOG and send it to that launch pad. And because of its high base health and because it's so fast, you will actually hold the launch pad for a bit until you get a slower, more powerful moving unit onto the battlefield. So the WARDOG has many purposes in this way. You're not really going to be using WARDOGs as to dealing a lot of damage to your opponent because their DPS is still pretty abysmal. The WARDOGs are a supporting, fast-moving, tanky scouting unit that can also tile block your opposing enemy units and also holding launch pads as well. So essentially, the WARDOG can make somewhat of a good replacement for the Rhino in your War Factory opening. Now let me show you guys a couple of games where I use this unit composition to a good effect. Alright guys, so this will be the first game. I will be, of course, playing as GDI. On the right hand side is blue, and my opponent will be not on the left hand side is red. And because all the crystals are once again in the middle of the map, it's a great map to rush down enemy harvesters. He knows that I may have jump jet trooper, which I was planning to go into, but I misclicked my jump jet trooper and I actually went into a sniper. So regardless, it wouldn't have worked anyways because he went for an early militant and a flame trooper. So he was very cautious with this early game here. and I will be losing my sniper there, unfortunately, as I didn't care too much about microing it. I knew my sniper was going to die anyways. Now we both go into a harvester. As we both know, we don't have the sufficient units to rush down each other in this early game. And because he has the militants and the flame troopers, I go right into the war dogs, because like I was saying earlier, the war dogs can do well against these two types of units because they don't have the name laser or missile squad in their name. The war dogs once again will have, keep in mind, they will not beat missile squads or laser squads, but they can somewhat out-trade flame troopers and militants. But if you see on the right, my war dog is actually not beating that flame trooper. So the war dogs still have a very difficult time taking out flame troopers and shockwaves. But as you guys see, I built 3 war dogs and I put each one of them onto launch pad at this point to secure that first missile, and that's really what they're really good at doing. They're very fast and tanky, so you can quickly move them onto different launch pads and they won't die because they have a high amount of health, and you can secure that early missile. And because he's going for a lot of banshees, I'm going for pit bulls, as pit bulls was kind of my only anti-air in this unit composition. And pit bulls are decent against banshees, not so good against missile squads, of course, or laser squads. And a laser squad would be a better counter against the pit bulls other than the banshee. But anyways, going back into what's happening onto this battle right now, I'm trying to go for his harvesters and also his banshees as well, and I'm trying to see if he's going to build a different type of unit. But so far he's only mainly pumping out banshees, and finally he goes for some lasers, of course, because the lasers will do a lot of damage to pit bulls while pit bulls don't do much damage to lasers. And I've still got that one middle launch pad held by my war dog. I built another war dog to finish off that injured flame trooper on the right hand side. That flame trooper actually killed that war dog, as you guys if you guys saw earlier. So the war dog on a 1 versus 1 fight still has a hard time dealing with the flame troopers, which it's supposed to counter. And at this point, I build a sniper to kill that one laser squad while that pit bull finishes off the banshee, and I secured a second missile here and I pretty much win the game. So you can, as you guys saw, you can use the war dogs to counter certain infantry units like the flame troopers or the militants to some extent, and also hold launch pads securing you missiles, which can definitely help you win the games. Alright guys, so this will be the second game. Once again, I'll be using GDI, and I'll be on the left hand side as blue, and my opponent will be in the right hand side as red. I'll go into a war factory this time, and I go straight into the war dogs to see what my opponent has going on for me. And he actually goes for a scarab, which I will see at this point. And never try to trade a war dog into a scarab. Unlike the militants or riflemen, the militants and the riflemen can actually kill a scarab that is moving, but the war dog's DPS is so low it won't be able to kill it. The scarab will actually take down the war dog with it. You only want to ever sacrifice your war dogs against them if that's what you're intentionally trying to do. And the snipers make an excellent counter to scarabs. Like I was saying, the snipers will kill any infantry units in the game as long as you abuse that 2-tile range, and scarabs are definitely not excluded from this group, of course. So you see, I'm protecting my snipers in a way with my war dogs here, while I've got my snipers firing on his scarabs. I took out 2 scarab units, and I'm taking out his laser squad as well. I send one pit bull to try to harass his harvester, but he's got a banshee at this point. And air units will counter the war dogs and the snipers. That is the one downside with these units. They can't attack air units, so that's really the only problem. But I send another pit bull to deal with the banshee, and that banshee on the top actually didn't kill my war dog there. He instead tries to protect his harvester, which will allow me to secure this first missile. So you can see the war dogs are quite tanky, so it does take a couple of hits for it to go down if you are using the banshees or anything like that. And I still try to go for his harvester here while he tries to protect it. My snipers will once again take care of his laser squads or any other infantry unit that he tries to pump out. And I'm mostly going to just go for pit bulls here, as he's got a whole bunch of banshees on the field. And that was kind of like my only anti-air unit once again with this war factory composition. And pit bulls are pretty decent against banshees, to be honest. I go for one MLSR, thinking he might go for a vehicle unit at this point, but he doesn't. And unfortunately my MLSR will go down to his banshee there, and it doesn't do very much. So I just keep pumping out pit bulls as I just mainly see banshees. He does go for another missile squad at this point. I take out a harvester as well along with his banshee. And if he was, I'm just trying to control the missile here at this point. But if he was to move that missile laser squad, as you guys see what he's doing, I actually misclicked an ion cannon there. That was me, totally misclicking the ion cannon. But anyways, because he has that strong laser squad on the bottom and I want to secure this missile, I'm going to move my sniper down at this point to do some damage. And as he almost gets the missile here, because I pump out a fast, quick moving War Dog onto the launch pad, I am able to hold the launch pad once again and secure this third missile. So the War Dog is, once again, I think a great unit to secure missiles or launch pads if the missile's almost done building, because it's so fast and moving and it can tank some hits as long as your opponent doesn't have very strong anti-vehicle units on the battlefield. And this will be the final game. It's a mirror matchup, GDI versus GDI. We have the same commander, and it's one of those maps where all the minerals are once again in the middle of the field, great for rushing down harvesters. And my opponent does go for a jump jet trooper while I go for war dogs, and this is the only real problem with the war dogs, is that their DPS is far too low to do much damage. Like his jump jet trooper is not taking much damage. Even if I build 2 war dogs here, he just keeps on going for my harvester here, and I try to protect my harvester as best as I can. And I couldn't build a sniper at this point because I didn't have enough crystals. But his jump jet trooper, you know, because it doesn't take much damage, even 2-3 war dogs here, he's going to just simply take out my harvester with 2 jump jets. Now, had those war dogs been a rifleman or a militant, I would have easily dealt with his jump jets. So that is really the biggest issue with this unit, is that they just have such a low DPS to kill units fast enough. And my opponent actually goes for rhinos here, and unfortunately I wasn't really paying attention. In this early game, I have to say I wasn't playing very well. So I go for a sniper, and he's got 2 rhinos on the field, and they're definitely going to counter my snipers along with my war dogs. I'm trying to protect my snipers in a way with my war dogs here, but my war dogs won't do much to his rhinos. And I'm just going to sack off my snipers here. I just let it die. I go for a predator tank, and I try to go for his harvester on the mineral line on the right hand side there, but he will actually see my predator tank rolling up, and he moves his harvester away. So smart on him, he knows exactly what's going to happen. And right now he's got pretty much the whole map under control. I don't even have a harvester. Like, you guys see this? I never even built a harvester at all until now. There we go. Yeah, now I build a harvester. Like, I was slowing down my economy as I wasn't paying attention to this early game in the beginning. I was playing terrible. I was not doing very well in this early game. I did stop his harvester from being able to mine crystals for a bit there, but once again he tries to go from a harvester there. But at this point, his jump jet trooper, as it was damaged to a certain point, I do take it out. And my pit bull will try to go for his harvester on the top there, while I move some war dogs on the bottom. But I'm going to have to transition into anti-vehicle weapons instead of using war dogs, because he's got a lot of vehicles on the map. So I go for a whole bunch of pit bulls here, and I stop his harvester from mining crystals again here, and I go for an MLRS. MLRSs are great against light vehicle units, and you can see that I sniped the rhino there, and I really need to secure this missile. He almost gets the missile here. I move my MLRS and my war dogs on time onto the launch pad, and because once again war dogs are very quick at moving and they have a lot of health, they're so good at holding these launch pads. That's really what you're using them for. You're not really using them for damage. You just want to hold launch pads with the war dogs. And my jump jet trooper, as he almost gets the missile again here, I jump right onto that launch pad before he does. And my MLRS is doing a great job at taking out some of the units here. And his harvester is dead at this point, and he's not mining, he's not farming any crystals right now, so he's a little bit behind in economy right now while I go for my 2 MLRSs. Unfortunately, I got my MLRS a little bit too close to that missile squad, so it will die, but I build 1 sniper to help my MLRS at this point. And yeah, my MLRS is doing a great job taking out his lighter vehicle units like the rhinos and the pit bulls. They aren't so good against things like the predator tank if they get too close to the MLRSs, so just keep that in mind. But the MLRS is just a great unit against most vehicle unit types, so it's great to use if you have a war factory opening. And he has a ton of infantry units on the bottom trying to chase down my MLRS, but you can see my snipers totally just sniping them from afar. And yeah, this long range that the snipers have is just so good. I love using the snipers myself, and you can see I totally zoned all of his infantry units there. Also, his missile squads and rockets won't do very much damage against snipers anyways. And my it's very nice to see how I just completely outrange this guy with my 2-tile range units. And a game that I was going to lose initially, I turned it around with my WARDOGS, MLRSs, and my snipers at the end here. They did a fine work. WARDOGS were helping me control those launch pads, and the MLRSs were taking out his vehicle units, while my snipers were finishing off his infantry units. And this composition was just working out very well for me, and that's how I won the game. So once again, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This unit composition is doing very well for me on the ladder right now, and for other GDI players as well. So give it a shot if you have the units, and I'll see you guys next time.